Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, the RNC was a success. It was a huge success. And it seems that, as you know, the liberal media is getting very upset and very huffy and puffy, and they're trying to find acts of quote racism in said speech. They went over JD Vance's speech and they decided to target him and supposedly um planning to have his wife and himself buried once they die in a graveyard, a grave cemetery dedicated to their family in Kentucky. They're like, hey, but you can't do this. You can't do this. You're colonizing your wife, who, as you know, Usha Vance happens to be Indian. And the left sees this as not okay because you're putting Usha Vance, an Indian, into a white cemetery. And this is the thing. They want us to be segregated. This is when we try to be inclusive. Normally, if this was a Democrat, they'd be celebrating. If Vance was a Democrat, the liberal left would celebrate in all ways to basically allowing. They'll say it's being inclusive, but Vance is a Republican, and he ticked off the left a lot. So he, in fact, is saying, so the media is going to turn on him. They have to find evidence of racism. There isn't any evidence of racism, but they'll create some, and they'll try to twist words around in order to create so-called racism that isn't. So the RNC was a success. I would say it's one of the biggest successful Republican nominations ever. Was it the most successful one? No. I'll tell you, 1984 was big. 1972 was big. But yeah, the RNC in total has been known for having historically great and good nominations. Probably the worst Republican National Convention was 1912. Unanimously, because that is what destroyed the party, split the party, and basically led to a Democrat landslide in that year, basically, as you know. Despite Theodore Roosevelt winning the popular vote in the delegate count, they decided to go with the current president, William Howard Taft. As a result, Roosevelt stormed out of the convention right after he lost, and a group of his, as you know, delegates followed with him, and they formed the Progressive Party. And as you know, this Progressive Party was way more popular than the current GOP, and they squashed the Taft ticket. So, yeah, I would say 1912 would have been the worst. What was the worst convention for Democrats? 1924. And actually, it's going to be 100 years until the said 1924 National Convention. Democratic. And what's so important? Why is it so important? And yes, coincidentally, it lasted forever. It's over now. I mean, it's been over 100 years now officially. But this all was not a safe, not really a safe convention. The Ku Klux Klan was involved and had a huge involvement in when it comes to selecting the nominee. They were against this guy, John Davis. They said, hey, you got to support us. You got to give us money, or we are not going to support and endorse you. Davis said no. In fact, he condemned segregation and racism. He says that this is wrong, and he condemned the hate and violence of the KKK. So the KKK just showed up at the convention in efforts to stop Davis from getting the nomination. Oh, I don't think Davis was a dark horse candidate. So this happened after Davis retrieved the elect nomination. But I'll tell you, 1924, they wanted the Ku Klux Klan was going with Yeah, William Gibbs McAdoo, U.S. Senator from California. He's a part of the Klan. He's a part of the Ku Klux Klan. He's like the main guy in office. There was also Al Smith. The Ku Klux Klan was afraid of him coming to power because he's a Catholic and Catholic bad, according to the Ku Klux Klan. And then yes, there's Dark Horse John William Davis, who ended up winning the election altogether. But yeah, this is the convention role, but I'm getting, as you know, sidetracked. We talked about that RNC, and the most historical is, was it the best RNC? It was definitely one of the best. The party was unified. Part of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump really helped bring the party together, and not just that, just ongoing viewers. We've seen independents, even Democrats, moderate Democrats. They've checked and viewed the uh, the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. And Trump's speech was pretty good. Most moderates are saying it's either a C or a B. So C or a B, and that's pretty good. That is pretty good when it comes to that. And once again, it exposed. If you take a look at Donald Trump's speech in the RNC, you'll see it's uniting. He uses the word "we," and this is what one of the independents said instead of "I" or "me." He uses "we." Of course, talking about the persecution and the assassination, he used the word "me" or "my," because, as you know, these are attacks against him. But when it comes to his campaign, it's about "we." And that is really what made his speech good, although it was pretty long. I mean, I stayed up till 11 watching his speech. I'm like, okay, Trump, it's getting late and I'm getting tired. But I watched the whole speech. It was pretty good. I admired that he paid tribute to that fallen firefighter and kissed his helmet. And that really does show that Trump does care. He just shows his compassion in a different way, a very unique way compared to other people. A lot of good people, I was just saying people in general, will sit down and talk good about you, say you're a good person. Donald Trump doesn't do that, rightfully, because he knows what's the point of saying you're a good person while you clearly know you're a good person. You're not like Joe Biden where you forget who you are. Donald Trump believes you are cognitively able to know who you are and know that you're a good person, and that should be a compliment. But the liberal media and the Democrat Party takes that out of context and they make that a bad thing, and they'll make Trump selfish. You know what? Donald Trump has a tough personality because he has expectations. So, someone crying racism, Donald Trump's going to say, hey, you know what? You're better than this. And he will probably go further into saying, get up, like, stop crying, blah, 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 and just saying it's fine. That's because, as you know, he expects more from you. He expects you because you're a strong person. And honestly, is a compliment. And when you have Democrats taking down the knee into a woke Democrat crying racism, you're basically saying, hey, that woke Democrat needed to be picked up. That woke Democrat needed to be carried. He or she in this case, couldn't carry himself, he or herself, through life. So yes, Donald Trump is amazing. And that convention was amazing. And that makes us to think, what would the DNC convention look like? And I'm going to be honest, I am nervous, guys. I am nervous because there have been efforts to get Biden out of office. And it seems that, as it looks like, Biden and his campaign is saying we're still in this race. L to you guys, but we know Joe Biden is going to drop out. We have Obama, we have Nancy Pelosi, we have Adam Schiff, we have Hakeem Jeffries, we have Chuck Schumer, and they're all crowding into Joe Biden. They're encircling Biden, and all Biden has is himself and a couple state senators from the lower branches, and maybe some celebrities like Jack Black and Joe Scarborough, along with The View, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and they're not politicians. Here's the thing, but all the Democrat establishment is encroaching on Biden and saying, "Hey, you gotta drop out. We're dead serious." And the Biden campaign, I gotta tell you guys, but they were relieved when Trump was shot. They were relieved because they knew the attention was off of them. They actually thought, you know what, we actually might have to drop out. And then Trump was shot, and everyone was focused on Trump. The Democrats walked away to see what was going on, also to give fake tears, because in reality, they care less. In fact, they would love to have Trump dead. They would love it. And Biden's like, they forgot about us. And then he spoke too soon. And Adam Schiff gives his creepy face as usual. Creepy stare, Adam Schiff. He turns his neck, pencil neck, turns his neck around and stares at Joe Biden. Look, I need to see that face again. I'm supposedly stretching this video, but yes. Creepy Adam Schiff goes and does his stare. There you go. This is the best Adam Schiff stare ever. Does this picture creep you out? I should do a poll. Does this picture creep you out? Like, this is Adam Schiff when you realize everything is okay, everything is under control with the Trump assassination, and Schiff is turning his head back to Biden and saying, "Attack!" Pencil neck. Yep, he's saying, okay, it's time to go tell Biden to force Biden out, and they're literally going to wheelbarrow him out. They're going to strap him into a wheelbarrow, and they're going to drag him out. They will do this. But you got one politician that is sticking with Joe Biden, and that specifically is AOC. AOC went on an hour rant last night on the consequence of not renominating Joe Biden. In fact, I think to a point she is correct. A lot of people, to a point, I honestly have a interesting position. I have no idea how this is going to affect the race. A lot of people say, oh, this is the best scenario for Republicans. Get Joe Biden out and get Kamala in or someone else. And I'm saying no. No. In fact, AOC is too Trump deranged and too pro-Democrat that she's having a hard time admitting that Republicans in general were correct about the Biden administration. They're not doing a good job, and all the Democrats, one by one, even Adam Shifty Schiff, is even admitting it. But one politician saying no, and that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's saying no. We got to go with Biden. Part of the reason is, yes, democratically, the voters voted for him. Here's the thing. The Democrats cannot use the word democracy anymore, because if they pursue to dump Joe Biden out for no reason, they'll say it's because of COVID. No, he has a mild tad of COVID, guys. A mild tad. He has a little tiny sore throat. And I guess what? I had more of a COVID than Joe Biden. Joe Biden is doing his job. He's staying in the White House, but he's still working. He's still working. I, on the other hand, literally couldn't get out of bed because I was so sick. So sick. And I believe I got a fever at one point. I had a bad strain of COVID. So, yes. Regardless, and here's the funny thing, it's COVID. It's like the flu. You got a bad tad of the flu, or you got a mild flu. COVID isn't COVID anymore. It isn't 2020. And when we have Joy Reid in MSNBC saying, oh, Biden just got COVID. Is this the same thing as the assassination? Are you dumb? Are you stupid, Joy Reid? We knew you were stupid to begin with. No! Guys, we all had COVID. Joy Reid, I bet you anything, had COVID. And even if she said no? She's lying. We knew it. We all had COVID. When was Joy Reid assassinated or attempted to be assassinated? When was Joy Reid ever shot? Sure, every politician has rumors against them that they might be killed. But I can guarantee you, AOC, Joe Biden, they never got shot. Unless they're hiding something personal, but really, we would know by now. There wouldn't be a reason to hide that information, but I can guarantee you, they weren't shot. I can't imagine what a gunshot would be like to the ear. Yeah, Donald Trump, he's tough, but he's human. He told us that, you know what? I'm a strong man, but just like every human being, I am emotional. I have emotions. And this assassination put him into distress. He said, this is the last time I'm going to talk about this, and rightfully so. And I can guarantee you MSNBC will not respect that. They give no respect to anyone. No one. So I don't want to hear them going up to Trump. Did you stage the thing? No. Donald Trump doesn't have to answer. Because that's his personal information. That was attack against him. He doesn't have to talk about anyone. What the media really should be asking questions to is the director of the Secret Service. Secret Service director. And she's woke, I can guarantee you. Kimberly Cheadle. What a dork. Literally, her service, more like Secret Service. We don't want to talk about it, but yeah, Secret Service. Guess what? I'm telling you this. They took 2 minutes. There was 2 minutes and like 50 seconds. 3 minutes if you wanted to round. And they even knew about the shooter beforehand. Secret Service was just huddling up in a corner and just saying, what are we going to do? No! First off, that's what asking what are we going to do comes second. You don't risk and play around when it comes to the president of the United States. You could just think, oh, he's laying and soaking up the sun on the roof. Really? That's it, and you know deeply, or it could be a sniper laying down with the gun. What are you going to believe? First off, ask those questions later. We need to make sure the situation's right. And they already declared this guy a threat. And instead, they were just trying to get information on this guy and let the president give his speech on the podium. That's bull. Complete bull. And the fact that Kimberly Cheadle is actually still director of the United States Secret Service, what the heck? And CNN and MSNBC is saying Republicans are attacking women's Secret Service. No, we're actually attacking untrained Secret Service team members that happen to be women, because Kimberly Cheadle, unlike a lot of her base, actually goes and hires people by their skin color and by their woman, not actually their experience in how really these women in this case need to know how to carry a gun. And we see cases of these women, they have a hard time equipping their gun. They're like struggling to get their gun out. They're trying to load it. They're struggling to get it in. No, you have to practice every single day with that loading and unloading that gun. And you got to put a timer, because you got to do it fast. Because when something happens, and that possibility is small, but it happened last week, guys. It happened last week. Actually, Saturday. Tomorrow will be officially a week when Donald Trump was almost assassinated because the Secret Service didn't do their job. But yes, like I said, we talked about that. You got Joe Biden getting pounced by his own administration. They're telling him to leave. And he's still insisting he's in the race, according to Fox News. He insisted 4 hours ago he was still in. This guy, Joe Biden, he's an old man who's stubborn. And eventually he's going to have to give up. And according to AP, he's calling for Democrat unity. No, they're not going to tolerate that, Joe, because Joe, you have a record that isn't good. And you lost the debate to Trump. You have embarrassed yourself on the national stage, and now Trump is stronger than ever due to the assassination attempt. And now you're losing Virginia. You gotta go, Joe. But the question is, who's going to replace him? If it's Kamala Harris, I will give a sigh of relief. So, and supposedly Kamala Harris might do a little better than Joe Biden, but she might do worse. I would personally think she would do a tiny bit worse because she is clearly unexperienced. She ran a campaign in the primaries. She became probably the top-notch gal, and then when those debates started, she went all the way down the toilet, and then she withdrew. And then she happens to be the vice president. She happens to be one of the worst vice presidents, according to polls. She has an approval rating of like 29%. And now we're thinking we got to have this girl run for president? I can guarantee you a lot of the Democrat establishment are saying, you know what? I don't think we need Kamala either because she's the one pulling Joe Biden's strings. I can guarantee you. And Americans know that. Kamala Harris, the reason why our country is doing so bad is part of the reason is Joe Biden, but it's also because of an inexperienced leader. And now the only difference of this Joe Biden and Kamala Harris running is Kamala Harris is exposing herself. I'm the one pulling the strings. And really, it's just going to be the same thing. If she wins the presidency, I doubt she would, but if she wins the presidency, it would be the same thing for the next 4 years. It would be the same thing. Foreign conflicts, inflation, the border, guys. She's the border czar, and she does nothing. She visited the border once in this whole entire term. Once. And never, ever again returned. She is too woke. She's too emotional. Zero logic. It would be horrible. I will tell you, though, pro-Palestine, the Palestine issue might get a little better. I still think they might resist her a little bit because, as you can see, AOC and Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders has to go as far as admitting that Israel can't defend itself from the Hamas attack. And he said Israel had the right to defend itself. Boo! The whole pro-Palestine mob starts crying and outrage. Racism and genocide! He's a sellout! Well, that's what the problem with these people. They're too emotional. And Bernie Sanders even goes as far as condemning Israel and saying he supports Palestine in a ceasefire, but he can't say that Israel had the right to defend itself and retaliate. He can't say that. And he even clarified and said, but now we need a ceasefire. Nope, sorry, no, Bernie, you can't. Israel just has to let the innocent hostages be taken away by the Hamas terrorists because they're people of color, and we can't do anything about them. We can't do anything about them. If Israel did try to rescue these hostages, they are racists. Bernie Sanders thinks that's crazy, but he's not going to ever again admit that. Say that Israel had the right to retaliate. No. So, interestingly enough, we have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It seems if either of them win the nomination in August, it's easy going for Trump. Here is my concerns, guys. A lot of people do not know this. And that's what concerns me. But I am starting to see some back steps, backpedaling, back to and some let's just say unconsciously walking up to the podium, and you don't see the wire and you're going to trip over it and break your arm or whatever, or break your legs, because that's what's probably, I wouldn't say it's probably going to happen, but we have to be aware. The Democrats in general want to pick a guy or a gal that will better defeat Trump. Now, a lot of people, analysts like Greg Foreman, are saying, yeah, a lot of people, however, a lot of these Democrats are they're joining the race at the wrong time, and he's right to a point. But let's remember how Joe Biden got elected. Joe Biden won the election because he wasn't a popular senator. No, they cared less. In fact, they were really mad with Joe Biden about his former segregation in the 1994 crime bill. But they voted for him anyway because of Orange Man. Orange Man bad. You got to get Orange Man out. We'll vote for anyone. Anyone that can defeat Orange Man. And what happened was Biden defeated Orange Man. So supposedly they could do that again this year. But the populist left isn't concerned about Orange Man. They're concerned about Palestine and Israel. They're distracted. And you have African Americans ditching Biden. You got Hispanics ditching Biden. You got young people ditching Biden. Okay, it's not worth it, says the Democrats. Let's pick someone else. Me, says Kamala Harris. Actually, no, Kamala. You're contributing to the Biden disaster, so we're ditching you. That makes the pro-blackity blacks, or in general, I call it pro-blackity blacks because they're not really pro-black, but the the black left, as you know, really angry. And as a result, I'm going to tell you this. They will still vote for Biden. I'm telling you. They're mad that they didn't get Kamala, but the Democrats will say, just like what they said to Charlemagne the God. Biden said it out loud, but he wasn't supposed to say it out loud. He was supposed to say it behind closed doors to these Democrats. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. They will say that to these Democrats. Or if you don't vote for me, you're not a good person. They will switch it around and they will disown you. And they will pump up the fear about Orange Man. Ooh, okay, we gotta go vote for this guy. I mean, yeah. So supposedly getting rid of Biden and Harris means that the guys that are running and controlling what's going on and doing their part in Gaza are gone. Therefore, if we get another Democrat in there, would Israel and Palestine be much of an issue? I don't think so. But then again, views like Josh Shapiro and Gretchen Whitmer, they're pro-Israel. And common sense wise, I don't think no one would bend a knee to Palestine. Come on. Palestine has done so much to our country. Iran has done so much to our country. And you're actually thinking we need to bend the knee to them because of genocide. No. It's called international politics. You take a position even though it's the most unpopular, but you know it's the right thing to do. So yeah, very little Democrats support Palestine. Jamal Bowman supports Palestine. Rashada Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, but they're the only ones. Oh yeah, there's Cori Bush. The squad is apparently... You have very little Democrats that support Palestine. Like 9%. So supposedly that could be beneficial. But here's the thing. You get Gretchen Whitmer in there. I am dead serious, guys. We need Kamala Harris. If Biden's going, which I really think he is, if Biden's going, Kamala Harris needs to take the nomination. If Kamala Harris says, I'm not doing it, we are screwed. We are done. And a lot of people say, no, we're not. We got this far. Well, guess what? We cannot downplay like we downplayed in 2022. We said so much that we're going to win so big in 2022, and we downplayed the impact of abortion. And as a result, abortion is what made Democrats win in 2022. Because we didn't consider what was going on behind those closed doors and what the Democrat donors and what the Democrat fundraisers and the establishment were saying to voters in general. We didn't consider it. We got our hopes up and we were destroyed. It haunted us. But now we are seeing a repeat a little bit. Not as bad as the overturn of Roe v. Wade. And I'll tell you this. The Democrats will do whatever they can to defeat Donald Trump, even if it means getting rid of DEI Kamala Harris. And they'll be huffy and puffy about getting rid of Kamala Harris. Well, I'll tell you. You want Orange Man back, they'll say? Kamala Harris will lose. No! You're only saying that because she's a woman of color! Yeah, well, guess what? They'll have a month or half of a tantrum, and guess what? They will jump and hop back on the Democrat train like they did in 2020. The Bernie Sanders supporters whined, pouted, and cried. And guess what? They voted for Biden. The Sanders supporters were even saying, oh, he's a segregationist. And he is. We're not voting for him. He's a right-winger. And then they go and vote for Biden. This is ridiculous. This is what they do, guys. The Democrats are experts. They have good whisper. Joe Biden whispers all the time. But the Democrat whispers much quieter. You can't even hear what's going on the internet, on social media. The Democrat Party is getting control of the people of America, and they're telling them secretly, get out to vote, or this and this and this will happen. They'll fearmonger. And they'll do it quietly. And I'm telling you, they pass the torch away from Kamala, and Gretchen Whitmer gets it, Trump will lose. We are not going to downplay this. Gretchen Whitmer will basically knock down Trump's tower of gains in Michigan, because we take a look at her electoral history. She won 2 trampling victories in Michigan, over 5 points. Her 2022 re-election was a landslide. And not only that, but she will solidify the Rust Belt. She would get votes in Wisconsin. She would retrieve votes from Minnesota. She would even get some votes in Pennsylvania, even Ohio. That's a doomsday scenario with Gretchen Whitmer. So no Gretchen Whitmer. No Gretchen Whitmer. I'm dead serious. If Gretchen Whitmer gets the nomination, we are done. I mean, I won't say we are done, but all our gains we made throughout the months are gone. They're gone. And Michigan is most likely going Democrat. Wisconsin is most likely going Democrat. Would we pick up Pennsylvania? I don't know. But just think. This is what the Democrats are planning. We have eyes, we have a brain. We know this is what would you do if you had to get rid of a bad candidate? Who would you replace it with? I would replace the candidate with someone who's from the big swing states, and that would be perfectly Gretchen Whitmer, because she's in the middle of two swing states, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Two states, you win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, you win the election. You win the election. We cannot let that happen. There's very little that the GOP can do. And I'll tell you, if the GOP takes a side, oh, we need to get Biden, keep Biden in, no, then they're assured to get rid of Biden, because they'll accuse the GOP of colliding with Biden. We're getting rid of Biden because they demonize us. We need to keep our mouths shut and pray. I mean, maybe if it goes to someone naive like Jamal Bowman, or maybe it goes to Dean Phillips, or Marianne Williamson. I doubt Marianne Williamson will retrieve the nomination. But when it comes to, in this case, Dean Phillips, congressman, I think he would lose at this point. He has a more pro-Israel than Biden. He is a moderate. He went out and said that the quiet power out loud, that Democrats hate people that say this. There's no such thing as, so as you know, there's no such thing as said racism in our society right now. I think to a point, there is definitely anti-white racism, but I do believe that, yeah, there is some inches and tiny bits of racism everywhere. There's no getting rid of it, guys. No getting rid of racism. But regardless how small racism is, and instead of acknowledging how far we became and how far we came, the Democrats want to keep peddling and make a big deal about it. Dean Phillips is against that. He says, no, we're wasting time. This is not important. What we need now is more jobs. And he's supposedly coming out. He's like a Clinton Democrat, but more conservative. I'm dead serious. But yes, I think because of that, he would basically tick off the progressive movement. This would become more of a Mitt Romney or a John McCain sort of election. So interestingly enough, so what do you guys think in regards to our convention? Very good convention, historic, and the Democrat convention coming up in a month. It's supposed to be 100 years since the worst convention in DNC history. The convention of 1924, which resulted to fistfights, hospitalizations, cancellations due to brawls that went on for weeks until they got a guy who wasn't really in the contest or in the ring for the presidency. Yeah, it was humiliation. But there's also the 1968 DNC. But will the 2024 DNC be just as bad? I don't know. I mean, you got factions of the Democrat Party. You got pro-Palestine Democrats, aka progressives. You got Bidenists. You got blue no matter who, which are the Democrat establishment getting rid of Biden. And then you got the black populists, or just the people of color populists, the color populists that want Kamala in. And they're all going to be fighting and then over who they're going to put in. So buckle your seatbelts, because we saw 2023 2023 was bad for Republicans because we didn't have a plan. We didn't have a plan when we tried to recall Speaker Kevin McCarthy. What we should have done was say, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna get rid of Kevin McCarthy, and we're gonna put so and so in." And we all agreed. We put our hands out, and everyone's hands are together. We raised it in the air. We can do this. We didn't do that. We were so focused on getting rid of Kevin McCarthy. Our base, the Republican Party in general, didn't even want to get rid of Kevin McCarthy. And we just so happened to get rid of him because the Democrats voted along with MAGA. Something I'm critical about MAGA, though, they didn't come up with a plan. And we had 3 rounds of voting, and it took forever. We went through this 2 times. One in the late winter, like in February, and then in the fall. And like in end of September, we get as you know, we get Mike Johnson. Here's the funny thing. We should have known who the leader was going to be before we voted McCarthy out. Same thing with the Democrats. They should know who their nominee is going to be. They should have their hands out and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to get. This is who's going to replace Biden." But they don't. They're not considering that. They're just focused on getting rid of Biden. And like how the House of Representatives went out last year, this is going to be the same thing. This will be the same thing. It will be absolute chaos. There will be tons of voting, and there will be tons of crying. And guess what? I wouldn't be surprised if the convention ends with no nominee. And actually, the convention stretches on. And this would be the second time and the second longest DNC in the country. So really, anything could happen. Anything. But what I don't want to happen is a totally different candidate. If a totally different candidate with a good electoral record or good record in general gets in, Donald Trump falls significantly. We can't let that happen. There's nothing we can do about it, but we need to pray hard because a lot of people say, "Oh, there's nothing to worry about." Yeah, there kind of is. Sure, these people are starting a campaign in the middle of it. Yeah, but use Trump derangement syndrome along with cheating and just Democrat tactics in general. The media, they will get their way. They will get their way. They are committed to the cause of just taking out Trump, even that so they would try to kill him. There are people that wish he was dead right now, that he wished would have had his head shot off. This will definitely happen again. It definitely will. If this DNC doesn't go well for Democrats. They are dead set not going to let Trump. But that doesn't mean Trump's going to take the White House. That doesn't mean he can't take the White House. Donald Trump's a strong man, and God came out on the 13th and gave him his endorsement. Because if this was a divine act, then if God didn't have Trump's back, the bullet would have hit his head and it would have exploded. Instead, the bullet nearly missed by centimeters. This was a message, and then you have that photo. You have that photo that will be in the history books. The iconic Trump fist pump photo. Explained by, oh yeah, that's Vox. But yes, this photo right here with the American flag. That's just so coincidental that this flag, it could have been the other direction and we couldn't have got the flag, but the flag was in there. I'm telling you, God set this up. God set this up. The perfect angle. You have these people hunched over, grabbing Trump. This guy's standing up bold and strong. He's the one being shot. You got these people all concerned and worried. He's standing up with blood on his face, holding his fist up in the air. Where people are saying this is what's going to win him the election. Yes, we have a better chance now than ever before. But let this not be an overconfident indicator. We have to never, ever downplay. Ever. Never downplay what could happen and what the Democrats will try to do to stop Donald Trump from retaining the White House in 2025. So anyway, I want to thank you all for watching this video. I'll see you all in the next political episode.